A one and a two and a chick-a-boom a chick.
If you were to say, Kyle, give me your best summary of why I should join the VIP club, I'm going to give you 5 reasons. Number 1, it works. You are a busy remodeler who is juggling a lot of things. And in order for you to go from $600,000 of annual revenue to 8, or from 800,000 to $1 million, you need to dedicate time to improving the 6 main systems of your remodeling business. This program is designed to make it easier and more step-by-step for you to move forward. Second reason, it's very affordable. $497 a month. It is not a long-term agreement. It is month-to-month agreement, so it's very affordable. Number 3, it's consistent. We meet every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You have access to live group coaching where you can ask us questions each and every week. And you also have access to all of our pre-recorded courses and training to help you move forward. Number 4, it solves the problems that are holding you back. It solves them. You are struggling to understand your numbers. You need to go and improve your understanding of your numbers, maybe from a 5 out of 10 up to an 8 out of 10. You need an effective marketing plan. You need to start charging for design and project development. It is very helpful in moving that needle forward. And number 5, what would be my other thing? Number 5, you get to hang out with me, some of our Remodelers on the Rise coaches, and a group of remodelers who are wanting to improve. You'd be surprised at when you dial in on Wednesdays and you're hearing what other remodelers are struggling with. You're getting encouraged, you're getting motivated. More than anything, you're getting clarity on the next step you need to take to improve your remodeling business. It is incredibly valuable. So there's your summary of the top 5 reasons. You can see more details below, and most importantly, down at the bottom, there is a sign-up form, and I would love to have you fill that out and for you to be a part of the VIP club. So I've been in business since 2008 full-time, and by golly, 17 years in, I have not found the end of my to-do list yet. It's obnoxious. The list of things to do is never ending as a business owner. Can you relate? I'm sure you can. One of the big challenges as a business owner, as a remodeler, as an entrepreneur, is to manage your time well. And I would like to say that as you grow or even scale your remodeling business, that perhaps that gets easier. And I think in some ways it does. But if you're a remodeler that is under $1 million in revenue, chances are you are juggling a lot. And putting some focused attention on how you invest your work time becomes really important. And frankly, if you're running a $2 million, $4 million, $3 million, $5 million remodeling business, the need to review how you're investing your time at work, reviewing your overall capacity and how much work you have on your plate is always important. What I want to do in today's episode is walk you through pieces, not all of it, but pieces of a spreadsheet is what the format is in, titled at the top, How You Invest Your Work Time. This is something that I've had all of our Remodelers peer group members fill in, and it's been very eye-opening for them. And also when you join the VIP club, which is our program for remodelers that are more in that $1 million and under range of revenue, part of our starting line that we have in the VIP club is step 3 of the starting line is this exercise of how you invest your work time. And as I was thinking about the podcast, I was thinking, well, you guys don't necessarily have this sheet and some additional training in front of you, but the concepts and what you fill in on this would still be very beneficial for you to listen to, for you to ponder, for you to consider. So as I walk through some of these items, this might be a good podcast to kind of click the pause button on and to think about your answer and to reflect on your answer. Or if you're listening to this and you're in your office, perhaps even jotting the question down and giving your answer and writing it out might be helpful. So what this starts with on the how you invest your work time is straight up How many hours a week do you work on average? How many hours a week do you work on average? Interestingly, this is something that a lot of business owners don't really measure and pay attention to. I don't know, is the sun up? I'm thinking about work. I don't know, is it quitting time yet? We put in hard hours. But it is really interesting and helpful to actually consider how many hours are you actually working a week. When I went through this exercise myself, it made me think about that and reflect on that. And what I also would love for you to do is describe your typical work week. I usually start work at 7 a.m. and I go to fill in the blank. On Saturdays, I usually do this in the morning. Other times that I'm working or catching up on things are as follows. What gets measured gets improved, and we want to take a minute to pay attention to how many hours a week do you work. So that's part of this, how you invest your work time. Some other questions that I ask at the start of this is around stress level and attitude. What is your average stress level? 1 equals very low and 5 equals very high. And what is your average attitude? 1 being very negative and 5 being very positive. The stress level question is a great question for you to pay attention to. For example, in my company at Remodelers on the Rise, we do a level 10 meeting once a week. Bailey and Cassie and I do our level 10 meeting. It's an EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System structure. And one of the questions that we always take a minute to report on is our overall stress level. You can do it 1 to 5, you can do it 1 to 10, dealer's choice, however you would like it. But it's very helpful to, 1, consider your personal stress level, start paying attention to that. And this is also a great question to ask in your team meetings, in your leadership meetings. It's interesting how this ebbs and flows. For example, I was actually surprised at our level 10 meeting where I said, you know what, my work stress level is actually a 4 out of 10 right now, which was a lot lower than it's been over the previous weeks. And I know why that is, and having caught up on some things. So stress level and paying attention to that is very helpful. And then what is your average attitude? Super interesting as people fill in the answer to that question, how they're rating themselves. Some people know they've been in a funk. And some people know that they've been working really hard on their attitude. And some of them, it's just a mixed bag. It's a great thing to report on and think about. What is your average attitude? Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. 42% of all statistics are made up. I don't know if that 1090 statistic is made up, but there's a lot of truth in that. You have no control over several things, decent number of things in your life. But you also have a lot of control around a lot of things. Your work ethic, your focus, your planning, and I would also say your attitude. Crappy things can happen during the course of a day. Don't let a bad 15 minutes turn into a bad day. Your attitude is so important. So I have people think about that, report on that, and rate themselves on that. And then another thing I have people do on this sheet is, how would you rate how your business is going? 1 equals horrible, 5 equals exceptional. Giving an honest answer to that is interesting. And if it's more of a 1 or a 2, it's time to really, really seriously understand why you would rate your business as horrible or really bad. What is going on? Let's get real. Let's get real and transparent. And then let's really think through what the next right thing is to work on that. So that gives some insight into some time management side of things. The next section on here says daily planning. When I think of time management for a remodeler, and I ask a question like, how well do you plan your workday before it begins? When I have a remodeler say, I barely do that at all. I don't know, the first text that comes through, the first emails at the top of my inbox, I just kind of start pecking away and working away at that. That is not a super productive way to go about your day. To really take the time the night before and plan your day for the next day, or first thing in the morning, taking 9 minutes and really thinking through what's coming up later in the week, looking at your schedule, thinking about what a priority is that you have, and actually planning out your day. Yes, there will be interruptions. Yes, there will be curveballs thrown at you. But I tell you what, I've noticed in all my years of coaching busy business owners, when you plan out your day well in advance, you will get more of your priority items done. And then one other item near the top here that I ask as I'm evaluating somebody's, how they're investing their time, how they're doing with that, is I ask this question of, do you utilize time blocking at all? AKA, estimates happen on Tuesdays. We schedule 3 sales calls on Thursdays. Fridays are scheduled, Friday morning from 9 to 11 is scheduled for fill in the blank. Especially as you start to get off the tools and into the office more, or if you're still juggling the hats of project management in the field, estimating, sales, marketing. I have found for a lot of remodelers that utilizing time blocking really helps increase your productivity. It is hard when you are doing a sales call on Tuesday morning, and then you're doing some project management work, and then you have another sales call on Wednesday afternoon, and you're kind of ebbing and flowing, and you're running around town, and frankly, you're just not optimizing your time and investing your time super well. It's very powerful when your person that takes your phone calls or schedules your in-person meeting says, Kyle does his appointments on Tuesday afternoon and Thursday afternoon. He's booked for this week, but next Thursday afternoon, he's got 2 slots available to meet with a new project. That shows that you're using time blocking, that you're really strategizing through your schedule. So again, I'm going through this, how you invest your work time, giving you hopefully some food for thought, helping you step back from the hustle and bustle. What does bustle even mean? I know what hustle means. Bustle, I think that means just the activity, the flurry of activity, and stepping back and evaluating how you're investing your work time. I mentioned it before. When I filled this thing out, I had to get real quick. How many hours do I actually work? How is my overall stress level? How am I doing with daily planning? It's been very helpful. So hopefully what I've shared already is getting you thinking, is helping you reflect on these things. The next section is, what do you currently spend your work time doing? What I have people filling this out do is have them estimate as a percentage of their work week, what percent of your work is spent in each of the main categories that I have listed out. There's a column in green that says current percent of your time in the week. And then there's a section next to it that's in blue that says ideal percent of time in your week. So for example, the first main work task says working in the field / swinging the hammer. When you think about it, you may do that 25% of the time. Ideally, you want to be doing that maybe 10% of the time, as an example. So this exercise of going through and thinking through all of your main work tasks, working in the field, swinging the hammer, project management, scheduling, materials, meetings, calls, marketing, estimating and pricing jobs, design work / design coordination, sales meetings and proposal presentations. These are all main work tasks. A couple other ones, managing your employees and doing company meetings, your financial work, invoicing, AR, payroll, job costing, and then on the business work, improving your processes, having coaching calls, being part of a peer group or a coaching program. So those are your main work tasks. So when you look at that list of how many are on here, there's a list of 9 there. To think through what percent of my time over the course of a week on average is spent in each of these categories. And ideally, what do I want it to be? It's super interesting to look at where you're at and look at where you want to be in the future and figure out, how do I get from point A to point B? Super interesting exercise, eye-opening exercise. So I'd encourage you to jot that down. I encourage you to just join the VIP club, and I'll train you and show you how to do this. That'd be awesome. Go to remodelersontherise.com, click on VIP club. This is one of many things I'll walk you through. Or you're listening to this, you're pausing it as you go. And as you get those answers in there, think to yourself, 6 months from now, what will you be spending less time doing or more time doing in your business? i.e., 6 months from now, I plan to be fully out of the field and spending more time fill in the blank. Putting pen to paper on that, typing that up and describing what that looks like makes it much more likely that you are thinking strategically and that you're going to be making changes to make that happen. And then we want to kind of take that 6-month vision you just kind of described and figure out step 1, step 2, step 3. Amazing. There's a next section here that is a little bit more touchy-feely, I would say. A little bit more, I call them bonus questions, a little bit more work-life balancey questions. Oh, I'm going to tell you all about it after you listen to this wonderful message from one of our beloved sponsors. Business is all about solving problems, and Remodelers AutoPilot solves a business problem that you have. You did a wonderful kitchen remodeling project for a client 2 years ago, and unfortunately, you haven't stayed in touch with them at all. That's a problem. Your clients are your most valuable marketing asset, and we want to consistently stay in touch with them with a monthly email and with consistent social media posts. But it's hard. You are a remodeler. You've got a lot of different hats and responsibilities, and that is what Remodelers AutoPilot will do for you. It's $147 a month. It is a simple month-to-month agreement, and it makes staying in touch with your previous clients and prospects painless. You can see the details below. Hopefully it is super clear to you how it works. You can see the examples, and I anticipate, like a lot of your remodeling peers, you're going to go through this page and say, this is kind of a no-brainer. Let's give this a shot. Would love to have you as our newest Remodelers AutoPilot client. And just like that, we're back. Be sure, please, support the sponsors. They make everything happen for us. You're going to see some of them at the Rise conference in August 2025. I do hope you're going to join us live and in person in Michigan for that. All right, back to the how you invest your work time exercise. The next thing I have people do on here is on a scale of 1 to 10, not affecting at all, or 10, really affecting in a bad way. How are your work hours and work schedule affecting your work-life balance goals? It's a real question right there, folks. It'll ebb and flow. I understand as an entrepreneur, things ebb and flow in this area. But if our work hours and our work schedule are really affecting in a bad way our work-life balance, it's time for you to take the reins and figure out what you need to do to get that reined in. A successful business is not to come at the expense of a marriage. A successful business is not to come at the expense of missing your kids' activities and games and concerts. Building a successful business, perhaps you need to slow down your growth in order to be able to balance your life out. Life is more amazing when you have time for the hobbies that you enjoy, for the people that you love and enjoy, and spending time with them. So pay attention to that. Again, life's goal is not to grow the fastest, the biggest business in the fastest amount of time. It's not the goal. And sometimes growing the business needs to be a little bit slower and more methodically and step by step than ripping off the Band-Aid and going guns a-blazing. With that said, building a business is hard work. It takes time. It takes hours. I know. I've lived it. I've done it. But I personally, if I may speak for myself, I've always put a very high priority on making sure that I was present with my kids. I have made my marriage an absolute priority in my life for going on almost 20 years. And yes, there's times where the kids go to bed and I was working from 9 p.m. to midnight. Welcome to growing a business and entrepreneurship. But there's also times that I'm like, it's 4:30. I'm not done with my work day. It's fine. I'm going to go home, prioritize that. I've had a lot of opportunities to go on speaking events that I turned down in order to be home and present. There's a lot of decisions that you can make related to this. And if you're struggling with work-life balance, think about how to improve that. All right. And then we get into the bonus questions. Here's some bonus questions around how you invest your time and how things are going. I have a question around sleep and routine. When do you typically wake up and go to bed? How many hours of sleep do you average? What adjustments do you need to make there? Important topic. Time off. Aside from weekends and major holidays, how many days off have you taken in the past year? Good to measure, good to reflect on that. And perhaps if you're listening to this, go onto your calendar for some Friday, a couple weeks, couple months from now, and schedule a really fun day for yourself. You've worked really hard. You've earned it. Go grab that. Another bonus question, health and fitness. How would you rate your overall physical health? Mental health bonus question. How would you rate your overall mental health? Those two things, your physical health and mental health, I think 80% of content and focus and how we view things is all about the physical health because we can see it. We can see the extra pounds. We can feel the physical health improvements that we need to make. My friends, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. So reflecting on that is important. Another bonus question, most important relationships. How would you rate your most important relationships, i.e. spouse, kids, God, friends, etc.? Good thing to reflect on. And then the last bonus question says finances. Describe your overall personal financial picture. Are you happy about it? Are you stressed about it? What are some next right things to do about it? That, my friends, is kind of around the horn of how you invest your work time. There's a lot of good questions in there. There's a lot of good things for you to wrestle with, for you to think about. You need to do some time on this. You need to do some work on this. You need to think through some next improvements. You might need to reset some areas. You need to be strategic on some of that, how you're using your work time and the breakdown of that. But you can do it. It doesn't happen overnight. Running a successful business is about making a lot of incremental improvements day in and day out. If you continue to implement, if you continue to try, if you continue to test, if you continue to measure, if you continue to figure out what the next right thing to work on is, step by step, you're a remodeler on the rise. You look a lot different in your business now versus a year ago if you're making consistent small improvements. Running a successful remodeling business isn't about finding some magic bullet that fixes everything. It's a combination of a lot of little things. What's your next right thing from the exercise we just went through? Identify that, work to implement this week. Give yourself some grace. Don't beat yourself up too much, but do give yourself an honest assessment and work towards improving. I do hope, like all these podcasts, that what I just shared with you over these 20 minutes or so was helpful. Maybe something was a little eye-opening. Feel free to reach out anytime. We're here to help. Be well. See ya.